Welcome, Rotarians and guests, to the Rotary Club of York, where our mission is to improve life in the city of York by connecting our club's diverse community leaders through fellowship, action, and service. I am past president Courtney Piccolo, acting as your fill-in president today, subbing for Wilda. Wilda, along with a bunch of other club member Rotarians, are attending the Susquehanna Nonprofit Summit in Gettysburg today. There she is with President-elect nominee Kelly. And as you know, we start off our meeting by reciting the four-way test. So if you would please join me. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Today, our opening song, My Country, 'Tis of Thee, and the pledge will be led by Leanne Wilson, followed by the invocation with District Governor-elect Aaron Jacobs, and visitor introductions by Glenn Smith.
I was going to start by saying that we're back to the same old after last week's wonderful performances, but we're doing a little bit extra thing that I got a birdie telling me that past President Courtney's birthday is today. So everyone, please join me in happy birthday to Courtney. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Courtney. Happy birthday to you. All right, now Rotarians and guests, please join me in My Country 'Tis of Thee. My country 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside, let freedom ring. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Rotarians, please join me in a word of prayer. Dear Lord, we give you thanks for this beautiful spring day and this beautiful room of great Rotarians and students and community leaders, Lord. And we ask for a mountain of blessings today on the food that was given to us and those that prepared it. We ask that you bless our heart and our minds and our mouths with words of peace and love and respect, so that we may be models to one another and role models to the community, and most especially, Lord, role models to the world at large where it is needed the most. Lord, we ask that you bless our program today. We ask that you bless our club leadership, and God bless the Rotary Club of York. Amen.
Good afternoon. I have the pleasure of introducing our guests for today's meeting. So when I call your name, if you'd be so kind to please stand and remain standing until past President Courtney has welcomed you. So first are our guests from the Membership Recruitment Committee, Josh Piscula, Marcus Grunwald, Ken Ewing, and Luis Rivera. Next, it is our guest of our speaker, Jim Heyman, Jeanette Heyman, Georgie Gaskin, and John Hoke. Next, a guest of Cheryl Yerger, Mackenzie Myers, guest of Cal Weary, Jack Hume. Did we get a woohoo over there? All right. Yeah, I like that. And now the next are for our youth group. It is our Advantage Program guests here today. So if you are here for that program, we'll have you please stand up. All 500 of you, welcome. And last but not least, guest of Tom Caltagirone, Jarek Metro. Past President Courtney.
All right, welcome visitors. We're so happy to have you here with us today. We missed a couple.
That's what my bad. I thought that was the same one there.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for picking up on that. See what they did?
Yeah.
It's the same down on that
It's very
side.
confusing.
All right. All right. All right. I'm covered. Thank you. All right. For youth leadership, Ken Day. Where are you, Ken? Oh, see, he's already standing. All right. Good. We have Kelvin Parker, Shannon Libra, and Rita Trippett. Okay. Now, who did I forget?
Okay, and we have a bunch of visitors with our Students of the Month today. So if you are here with our Students of the Month, if you could also please rise. It's not Glenn's fault. But thank you. Okay, so for all of our visitors that are here today, we do have a lot of visitors. We're going to be recognizing our Students of the Month later in today's program. And for our Advantage Program visitors, so if you're not familiar with what the Advantage Program is, earlier before Rotary today, the Youth Leadership Committee and volunteers had a speed networking session that gave students the opportunity to practice professional introductions, build confidence in conversation, and learn about different career paths and leadership journeys. So we have a lot of guests here today, especially our youth within York City. We're really pleased to have you all here. Rotarians, please help me welcome all of our guests. Yeah. Thank you. You may be seated. All right. That's the last time Glenn's probably going to ever do announcements, but no, I'm just kidding, Glenn. All right. Now for some more. And now for some announcements. Our club has been on the road the last couple weeks. We were at the Revs, then we were at York College, and while we were on the road, past presidents Mike and Jackie Summers were really on the road. They shared these photos on their recent trip to Egypt, and I see that Jackie has her Rotary gear on in the picture, so love seeing that. Some more announcements. The Membership Recruitment Committee will meet today right after this meeting downstairs in the Mixed Grill. And the Service Project Development Committee, or SPEEDY Committee, will meet on April 28th at 12 p.m. noon at Prince Street Cafe. And now for a membership engagement update from Bill Hunter.
Good afternoon, everybody. Just wanted to bring you up to speed on some activities we haven't been going on. Last Thursday, we actually had a new member happy hour that we had at Grand Falloons. We had about 19 people coming out. I forgot to take pictures, but we do have some more activities coming up as well. On May 14th from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Shine Music Foundation, we're going to have another biz tour and networking. So it's an opportunity to see what's going on at Shine as well as do some networking. There's actually probably going to be a performance there, so you definitely want to sign up for this. And then afterwards, we're going to go to Iron Horse for some networking, some cocktails, things of that nature. On June 4th, at the Appel Center from 12 to 1:15. This is going to be a lunch activity on that day, but we'll get a backdoor tour of the Appel Center and see what's going on there. What we want to do now, we also have some other things coming up, but one big one coming up is we are going to do Rotary Means Business again in July. That's going to be at the CGA, so you'll see some announcements in the district newsletter for that as well. But we're going to do that again. It was a big hit last year. Right now, what we're going to do is we're going to have a 30-second video to show you how to sign up for Club Runner for some of these activities. So you can break out your phones and take a look.
Register for events in Club Runner. Open the app and go to the All Events calendar. Tap the filter in the top right and turn off My Area and My District, so you're only seeing your club's events. Next, navigate to May and select May 14th. Tap the Rotary Biz Tour and Networking event. Hit register, add one to your selection, and proceed to checkout. Finish the process and you're all set.
So there you
Thanks
go.
for watching.
So there's your instructions for it. If you don't have Club Runner, download it. You know, it's a little blue box with CR in it, but you definitely want to do that. And you can see all the activities going on in the club on that. Next thing we're going to talk about is gear. We want to get our Rotary gear out there. So, wait a second here. Oh, there we go. So Aaron, that's got to be AI or a very creative assistant of ours, but it's time for Rotary gear. So what we're going to do is we're going to have an open store. It's going to be an online website. You're going to see the link in Club Runner. You can go to the next slides. We have men's and women's gear, all kinds of cool shirts. You can get one of these. You know, long sleeve, short sleeve, polos, quarter zips. There's also a ladies in the next slide. All kinds of stuff there. As well as for our final slide, we do have some bags, mugs, things of that nature. So this is a website. It's going to be open. It's currently open. It'll be open until May 7th. You can go online, pay with your own credit card. All the gear will be delivered here at the meeting on the 27th. So, you know, go get your gear, represent, and you can take the Tom Donnelly approach. Just wear your gear, lose the jacket. So it's a win-win. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. And now I invite past President Alsykes to the podium for a PPE announcement.
So, Glenn, do you subscribe to the theory that if you screw it up badly enough, they'll never ask you to do it again? My wife taught me that. Great. All right. Most of you, maybe hopefully all of you in the room, those of you in the back, know what this is. It's a lithium ion battery. This one happens to be for a weed whacker, but you'll have it for most of your power tools. But did you also know this is also a lithium ion battery? Again, for those of you in the back, it's a toothbrush. Just about anything you have that doesn't have a cord attached to it now has a lithium ion battery. Preserve Planet Earth Committee, along with the district committee and with Rotary International, is supporting an effort to collect lithium ion batteries. The Carlisle Sunrise Club is having an event on May the 16th to collect batteries. So we are going to assist in that effort by having a collection here on Wednesday, May the 13th. I will have my van in the lower parking lot, just like we did for when we collected the plastics trash, to collect your lithium ion batteries. You don't have to remove the batteries. You know, if your electric toothbrush is shot and and doesn't still have a cord attached to it, just bring it all along, and we will bring those. I will take them up to Carlisle. Our effort in this is to kind of learn how to do it. Now, what I mean is that the Rotary International has partnered with a group called Redwood Materials, which is a lithium-ion battery recycler. And when you do a collection with Redwood, they will arrange all of the pickups and the transportation to get it out to their sites so old batteries can be turned into new batteries. And interestingly enough, a huge percentage of the critical materials in this battery can be reused. Our ultimate goal, and we are working or hoping to work with after we figure out how to do this with Redwood, is to work with the York County Solid Waste Authority so that there will be a permanent site, just like the electronics recycling that they already have set up out off Tornita Street, so that we're not doing collections. You can just take it whenever you want to out to Tornita Street and do your lithium-ion battery collection there. So again, that will be Wednesday, May the 13th. Anything that you have, I will be collecting in the lower parking lot. Now, if you can do that next slide for me. Well, that's not it, but that's okay. The other thing that we are doing as the Preserve Planet Earth Committee, an organization which is the Environmental Sustainability Rotary Action Group, SRAG, which is basically Rotary International's environmental program. And SRAG is trying to do a count of all the Rotarians that have installed solar panels, either on their homes or on their places of business. And they're doing the million count solar panel registry. It's not up there now, which is just as well, because it will be in the newsletter. I will have a website for SRAG's solar panel inventory out in the newsletter. And all we're asking you to do is go on the website and just register if either you or your place of business have done solar panels. They want to know how involved is Rotary in the solar panel project. And again, PPE is hoping to take this idea and through SRAG and expand it, hopefully to work with a nonprofit in the York area with the idea of installing solar panels. So if you can just remember when you leave today, ESRAG, SRAG, and just Google SRAG, and you will find the million solar panel registry. And I'm asking everyone here who has done that to please register and let them know. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Al. And now I invite Jeff Lobach to the podium, who will introduce or formally introduce to you our mystery visitors for today.
Thank you, Past President Courtney. We have recovered from those introductions, and I'm glad to say that neither the students nor their loved ones ran out of the room in protest. I won't throw Glenn under the bus. That was a lot of responsibility for a lawyer. Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians and guests. A fine spring day like this one is a perfect setting for us to recognize Students of the Month. This is one of the most affirming and hope-instilling rituals or exercises in which our club engages. It bridges generations and inspires us to optimism in the brief moments we devote to acquainting you with our honorees. Today, we recognize, only for the second time, students in the York College Community Opportunity Scholarship Program. They are accompanied by their program director, Rita Marie Trippett, who was actually introduced. This program is now celebrating its 30th year following the first graduate from the program. It follows students and assists them through William Penn High School, supporting and enriching them during their public school journey, and then guiding them through college at York College. It's been extremely successful with many alumni having graduated from the college and a lot of them staying in the area, which is part of the goal. Students of the month, we've usually seen combine academic and non-academic achievements, and that's definitely the case today. First, you'll hear from Yuri Hernandez Ramirez. She's here with her mom, Elizabeth Vasquez, and her sister, Dalazula. In addition to being president of York High Student Council, which I'm sure takes a lot of time, she is quite musical. She plays the flute, piccolo, and sax, and participates in the jazz ensemble, symphonic band, marching band, and other musical activities. She'll be followed by Jonathan Rivera, who is accompanied today by his dad. Jonathan's involved in the STEAM Academy. He's active in his youth group at church, engages in various sports, and is both a mentor and a mentee in the mentoring program. He mentors middle school students. Yuri?
Thank you. Hello and good afternoon. My name is Yuri Hernandez, and I am a current junior at William Penn Senior High School and a York College Community Opportunity Scholarship Program scholar. Firstly, I want to thank God for allowing me to be here today. I also want to thank the Rotary Club for selecting me as the April High School Student of the Month. Wyckoff for nominating me, and my mom for always supporting me. I first heard about the YCOS program from a college student who used to be a part of my high school's music department. I've been involved in music since the 4th grade, where I started playing the flute. Since then, I've worked hard to grow as a musician. In middle school, I was selected to participate in the York County Middle School Honors Festival for 2 consecutive years. Now at the high school level, I've learned a few more instruments and recently performed again in the Honors Festival at Southwestern High School. Looking back, if I had not decided to take that step into music 7 years ago, I probably wouldn't be where I am today. Even though I've only been in the YCOS program for a year, it has already been a huge blessing. I've seen the opportunity it provides, the strong relationship that it has built, and the success of the students involved. It is not easy to find a program that truly supports and connects people the way that YCOS does, and for that, I'm very thankful. In the future, I plan to continue working hard to become an elementary school teacher while still keeping my passion for music. Thank you again to the Rotary Club of York and the YCOS program for this opportunity and for allowing me to accept the Student of the Month award. Thank you for your time.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jonathan Rivera, a junior at William Penn Senior High School and a YCOS scholar. I'm honored to be here today and truly grateful to be selected as Student of the Month. I want to thank everyone who's here, all the YCOS staff for their constant support, my dad for shaping me into the man I'm becoming, and most importantly, God, who has guided me throughout my journey. This recognition means a lot to me, not just because of the achievement, but because of the growth behind it. As a future entrepreneur, real estate owner, and business owner, I've learned that success does not happen overnight. It comes through discipline, consistency, and pushing yourself even when things get difficult, all while pursuing Jesus, because you do not grow in comfortability, you grow in uncomfortability. I make sure I approach everything I do with effort and purpose as if I'm doing it for God, whether I'm at school, home, or even work, or even back at the York community, doing community for York through YCOS. I do my best to stay focused and do everything with intention. I do this because I know that what I do now prepares me for what I want to be in the future, and both for YCOS and my faith in Jesus have been a huge part of that journey. Once again, I am truly grateful and honored to have had this opportunity. Thank you all for who have supported me and that continue to support me all throughout my journey. I want to leave you guys with one of my favorite verses from the Bible, Proverbs chapter 27, verse 19. As water reflects the face, so one's life reflects the heart. And so I'll leave you guys with this question. What is your life reflecting about your heart? Thank you. Have a blessed one.
Congratulations to our students today, Yuri and Jonathan. Keep striving for excellence and making a positive impact. And we're really proud to celebrate your achievements here at the Rotary Club of York. And now let's turn my attention to Chad Myers, who is going to be introducing our program for today.
Thank you, past President Courtney Piccolo. That is the proper pronunciation. Okay, good. I've heard other people say it different ways, so it gets a little weird. It is my true honor to introduce today's speaker, one of my very best friends in this world, Ryan Heyman. I first met Ryan about 20 years ago. We were both kind of playing the wall at a York Young Professionals annual meeting. We got to talking through a mutual acquaintance and ended up joining the board together, served on that board for probably 5 or 6 years together. I served as president. Ryan was president right after me. We maintained that friendship for literally the past 20 years. Regular lunches. He's a foodie. He will always tell you if the food's bad, and he really approved of today's lunch. So way to go, Country Club of York. Who would have known that in the fall of 2024, my career was at a bit of a crossroads, and had a lunch planned with Ryan. My position was unfortunately eliminated the week before. Had lunch with Ryan. He got to talking. He had a tumultuous weekend himself, and kind of told me all about it. And he's like, "Well, what's new with you?" I'm like, "Well, guess what?" And out of the blue, he just says, "Well, what would it look like if you wanted to come work for me?" And I was like, "I don't know. What would that look like?" And so we had a couple conversations, put a plan together, and I got to spend 5 months in the dark in the lab at Heyman Creative Studio. And I got to see the inner workings of the secret sauce and how things are put together and the great stuff that this team is able to put together and create and put out there for businesses literally throughout the world. So Ryan, thanks for being a true friend. I truly appreciate that. It's great to see some of the team today. I know we're missing 2 guys, but then also a legacy in Jim Heyman. So thanks to you guys for coming out. Now I'll read what they wanted me to read. All right. So for over 75 years, the Heyman family has been photographing, filming, and showcasing products and services for companies all over York County, as well as those of regional and global businesses. Third generation owner, president, Ryan Heyman started at the studio in 2002. He has truly climbed the company ladder, performing every single operational task at some point. He mowed lawns, he cleaned bathrooms, he assisted on hundreds of photo shoots in the middle of his tenure and worked for years as the studio's lead photographer. I never saw him cut the grass, and I never saw him clean the bathroom while I worked there. I guess he got other folks to finally do that as president. It's nice to be at the top. So he now leads large integrated marketing projects for local, regional, and global clients across a range of industries. Ryan's a York native. He graduated from York Suburban. He's a true lover of York City and York County. He is a well-decorated individual. He has been awarded Central Penn Business Journal's 40 Under 40 and a proud graduate of Leadership York's Mentorship York program in 2013. And he currently serves as the board chair of Leadership York. And Wilda is not here, suspiciously. It's kind of weird. And he also chairs the Mentorship York Committee. He's also a former Rotarian. He's an Eagle Scout, and he's like Johnny America. Ryan lives in York with his 2 children, Sadie and Owen. He enjoys golf. He has an eclectic taste in music, which I can totally vouch. You would never know what he was going to be cranking out of his office while at the studio. And he loves to travel. And if you follow Ryan on Facebook, you'll see pictures of these great trips that he's taken. And I would just say it would be totally unacceptable if they were bad pictures, and they are great pictures, Ryan. His favorite thing, though, is probably speaking in front of large groups. I had to say it. So please help me welcome my dear friend, Ryan Heyman.
He made the joke for me, so now I don't have to. So how's everybody doing? All right, let's see if I turn this on right. All right, so I did ask for the lights to be dimmed. It's still very, very bright in here. The studio is very dark, so I wanted to be in my natural habitat. Thank you, Chad, for the introduction. Chad really wanted me to do this, and he persisted for the better part of a year, I think, until I finally agreed to do it. I learned a lot about my family, my company, during the research for this presentation, so thank you, bud. I appreciate it. All righty, we have a lot of, where's the pointer? There we go. Oh, there's a error window on the computer. I don't know if that's me or you. Oh, there we go. Cool. All right. So we have a lot of decades to go through. So I'm going to go pretty quickly and let's get to it. So we're going to go the whole way back to the 1940s. Jim Heyman Jr. was a photographer of all things in the 40s, portraits, families. He shot for the paper. He even shot for the morgue, I'm told. I like to point out his old business card when he lived with his parents at Creston Road. And I always think it's so neat that the phone number only has 5 digits in it. Jim worked as a lab tech at Simon Photography in the late 40s. It took a little bit to find out. Dad and I had to do some research to find this out. And this was the first picture I saw of Simon's. And during research for this project, it was great to find out that lots of York Countyans and their family and friends have worked for Simon's over the decades. So pretty neat to find that all out. So as I mentioned, Jim was a lab tech working in the dark, printing prints and developing film. And Mr. Simon said, Jim, you're a photographer. You need to get out there and start a studio. So in 1950, this gentleman kind of just went right through it. It's a PDF now, not my PowerPoint. Got it. Okay. Jim Heyman made the decision to open a commercial and industrial studio, not a portrait, not a wedding studio, a commercial studio. And these words matter because this would be the beginning of our 75-year history of serving local, regional, and international industrial and manufacturing clients. He converted his parents' garage. This is their home on Creston Road. This is over by Bob Hoffman Stadium and the ice rink. He converted the garage into his studio. You can still drive past it today. I did that a couple months ago while preparing for this presentation. So pretty neat. There it is, the very first Heyman studio. So back in those days, he would have been shooting with a speed graphic camera or a Rolly twin lens like this. He would shoot 4x5 view cameras and 8x10 film as well. And we were developing all black and white films and prints by hand. In those days, we shot for General Grinding, Emans, and companies like the Ma and Pa Railroad. Moving into the 60s. In the early 60s, Jim would meet with his future wife, Nancy, and together they would move over to East York and move the studio to the basement of their home on Kershaw Street there in East York. That wouldn't last very long, though, because in 1965, Jim would buy the Fabricating Engineering Company. This is the only photo of the building in North York on the corner of 4th Avenue and Latimer, which is where we're still at today. This is the only photo of the building I could find before we started the remodel. So if anyone knows any information about this company or has any other photos, please let me know. Here's another, the aerial of North York neighborhood. So the plot across the street, that would later become Wolfgang. And then that's the Yesco building and their parking lot there. And then the white building there in the middle is the studio. This is the original sign that hung out front of the studio in those days. My grandfather hand painted it and he did so in lowercase letters. I don't know why, but that would lead to us using lowercase letters in our typeface logo for the next 74 years. Here are 2 more promo items that Jim put out in those days, and I always really liked the cleverness of the bellows on the one camera on the left, how it was small and then expanded because we bought the studio. So very, very clever. The 60s were still processing all film by hand, and we are using, let's see where they are. We're using 8x10 pieces of film, so very large pieces of film for both negative and transparency. And in those days, we would have shot for companies like Stauffer Biscuit, Borg Warner, which is now Johnson Controls, Alice Chalmers, which is now Voith, Charles Chips, York Container, York Craft, and Fincor. Going back there a little bit, aren't I? This is what things looked like at the studio in the 60s. This was shot outside of the studio in the late 60s. So there's my grandfather on the right and the team and all of our equipment and the blue bus, as we used to call it. Here's the same team inside the studio. If you're ever in the studio, that red camera on the top right is in our conference room, and that big camera in the middle is in the corner of the studio. And there's another shot of what it would have really looked like during a shoot in the studio. Very, very different nowadays. Our cameras are much smaller, and we don't have to get up on ladders that high anymore. Let's see. So the 1970s, the Heyman family grew. That's my father and my aunt there in the vehicle. So the Heyman family was growing, and so was the company. The studio was now at 3 photographers, 1 color lab tech, and 2 black and white lab techs. We were using similar equipment and still processing all film and prints by hand. And that would be until the mid-70s when we bought our first big piece of equipment. This was a color print machine and a very big deal for us. Very state-of-the-art, high-quality machine. You can tell that by all the wood paneling on it. Super awesome. That there is Jay Evans on the right holding that print, the longest tenured employee of Heyman Studio without being a Heyman. Jay was hired by my grandfather in the 60s, and if you can believe it, taught me the first things about Photoshop on a computer. So he really was with us throughout the decades, a great guy. In those days, we were shooting for Dentsply, Yorkcraft. We would photograph for Thonay, and we have photographed the Emeco Navy chair that I'm sure everyone's familiar with. Pewterex, companies like Guildcraft and York Barbell. And here we are setting up a shot for York Barbell back in the studio. And there's what the finished shot would have looked like. That's a one shot per day shot right there. That one probably took quite a while. So then in the late 70s, in 1976, Jim Heyman, Dad, would graduate from York Suburban and start his career at the studio. He was already working at the studio at night and in the summers. Our photographers would shoot during the day, and then Dad would go in and develop all their film at night so they could come in the next day and have their films ready to go for their projects. Moving into the 80s, the studio was very busy and times were good. And that's because if you needed a professional photographer, there were about 3 of us that you could call. You could call Heyman, you could call John Allen over in East York, you could call Brian Tolbert, great photographer over in Lancaster, or you could call Sterling in Harrisburg. And that was about it. No cell phones in those days, or even 35 millimeter for that. I guess 35 millimeter, but no cell phones in those days. The barrier to entry was also very high. We used large cameras with large tripods. They were very heavy. You needed dark rooms with chemicals and photo paper, and the margin for error was very small or very costly. The 80s brought on more equipment changes. We purchased our first color transparency processing machine. Again, a very big deal to buy a machine of that size and cost. Jim Heyman would be tasked with running, cleaning, and maintaining that E6 machine. In the late 80s, we wanted to consolidate all of our labs, which were spread around rooms and lofts all throughout the building into one consolidated space. So there in the early 80s, we began to install the lab, which is where all of our workstations are currently. In the 80s, we would have worked with companies like the Bonton, York Casket Company, Kraut Kramer Bronson, which is now GE, the Hershey Company, York Container, Glatfelder Paper, Glatfelder Insurance, Pfaltzgraff, Hanover Foods. I could keep going, but I'll stop there. The end of the 80s, unfortunately, would see the passing of our founder, Jim Heyman, in 1989. And my father and his brother-in-law, Tim Schreiner, there on the left, would be tasked with moving on with the company without Paul's experience, his very distinct laugh, and his true love for the craft of photography. He really, really loved it. There's a very iconic shot from the late 80s of my father and my uncle on the roof above our awning. So moving into the 1990s, the studio is now up to a staff of 12. We're a mix of photographers and lab technicians. Our new lab is now complete. We have 6 dark rooms. We have color film processing, 2 color 50-inch color print machines, Hope C41 color negative processing, and Hope E6 color transparency processing. We are the only studio in the area that has an in-house lab like this that allows us to shoot in the morning, develop your films during lunch, and you can come back from lunch and see your films dry on a light table in the conference room. Gave us a very good advantage over our competition. In those days, we were shooting commercial and residential architecture, food, people, and industrial manufacturing, of course. We were traveling the country, photographing things for Tensco, York International, Hanover Lantern, Hadco, Cole Business Furniture, and to date, we've shot in 26 states and Canada. I just wanted to comment how cool some of these old shots are. Like, no one does that anymore. The one on the right is so cool. Let's see. So this is the era of the studio that I first remember. It was dark. My father would have music playing. He would be working with the clients. Only the lights on set would be on. And it was just so fun and chill. He's oftentimes directing shoots with John Hoke, our current creative director. But it was stress-free and just so much fun, and the vibe was great. And we still try and do that to this day. So at the end of the 90s, change is coming. It becomes a theme here in the next couple pages. Digital has entered the industry. It's now the early 2000s, and digital is here. Camera equipment is not there yet. They're very expensive, sometimes having 6-digit prices, and they are going obsolete by the day or week. So we make another very crucial business decision, and we invest in high-quality scanners instead of a digital camera. and we continue to shoot and scan 4x5 color transparencies and provide digital files to our client that way. The 2000s, again, change. Every one of these could be called change. I started working at the summers and at the studio in the late 90s in the summers, similar to how my father did. And then after I graduated high school, my dad and I had the front porch conversation, as I refer to it. There was an opening at the studio, and this was a career and not another job. And he gave me the option, and we had that conversation. So in October of 2002, as Chad mentioned, I started the studio full time. Similar to how Dad did it, I started by, Chad mentioned, mowing the lawn, cleaning bathrooms, and my production work consisted of working in now the digital lab. Again, scanning those color transparencies, spotting them for dust in Photoshop, saving them out as digital files. I would then assist on the studio and location shoots, and I would just soak it all in. I had the opportunity to learn from Dad and a bunch of other great photographers and creatives over the years. In 2003-ish, I have here, we bought our first digital camera. That was a Kodak back for our Hasselblad analog camera body. So if you can imagine a digital camera body on an analog camera body with analog lenses. And then our eventual workhorse would be a 24 megapixel phase one digital camera that we would put on a digital Hasselblad. And back in those days, we were lucky enough to shoot with all Zeiss glass. So here are some of those shots that we've used that camera for. You probably recognize some of these buildings. That camera was a medium format camera and would shoot square images uncropped like the image on the right for adhesives research. You could also crop them to horizontal or vertical if you needed that for the layouts. Towards the end of our decade, our lab would go dry, which means we got rid of all the chemicals and we turned it into a digital lab. We gutted it, removed all the dark rooms. I learned how to drywall and run electric. And we built our new digital lab, and that is where all of us work to this day. Oh, there's some more, sorry. That's a great James Crafton Son image on the right, left there. There we go. That is the workhorse camera that I mentioned a couple minutes ago there. And this, around the same time, that's when Dad and I both were splitting the role of lead photographer at the studio. All right, the 2010s. Here we are. We've successfully navigated this digital transformation in our industry. We made it. We're safe, right? There's nothing else going to come down the highway. That didn't last very long. After a few years of standing my ground and saying we're a photography studio, we've always been a photography studio. We're really good at it. Let's just keep doing that. Video forced our hand. Video is here. You could watch it on your computer. You could stream it on your phone. And we needed to figure this video thing out. So for a year, I bought a camera, a book, and some software. And for a year, I stayed in the lab and figured out how to shoot and edit video. We knew how to light things. We knew how to compose things. But now things could move. So it's pretty neat. So yes, now our work starts to have play buttons. And we formally added video and then did one of my favorite things that we do over the years, and that's a voice of the customer campaign. And the customers came back and the feedback was, you're doing my photography and you're doing my video. Can you go one step further and do my design work? That was a big decision and a huge step for the studio. We always worked with designers. We weren't the designers. And we had to navigate that process very slowly and very intentionally. Melissa Beaverson isn't here today, but she helped me work on that process for a good 4 years to figure out how we wanted to do it. So thank you, Melissa. You might be asking, well, like, what about photography, Ryan? And there's Todd. I put him in here, and then he texted me this morning that he wasn't going to be here. I think he's online. So hi, Todd. Great shot of Todd. I still get the chance to take plenty of photos, but now photographs and photography are part of a larger project in most cases. So it's a full team effort by the whole team over here, and I get to play my role and be the photographer as part of the team. At the end of this decade, the company moved into its third generation. Dad retired in 2016, and I took over as president. The 2020s, every company has a COVID story. Ours is very short and sweet. We run a very lean company. We didn't have to lay anyone off, thankfully, and we're very grateful for the PPE loans and the few clients that kept us going through that time. Thank you very much. So you fast forward over the hills and valleys of the next 4 years, and it's 2025. Video and creative now make up the majority of our revenue at the studio, and photography is now a part of projects, as I mentioned, instead of the project, like the new website for the York Water Company. or the rebrand and new website of Garrett Hydraulics, another amazing multi-generational family-owned business here in York. 2025 was our 75th year, and we rebranded as Heyman Creative Studio to better align with who we are and what we do. And now we are a full-service creative team, and we make very cool things. Cool things like a new website for York Water Company, the Appel Center, a new website, headshots for WellSpan, ongoing content marketing for General Machine Works, Hanover Lantern, and EMC CPAs, TV commercials during the Olympics for Hanover Architectural Products. We captured the story of the History Center. We created hiring video content for PCC, and we also do a lot of work with our community health partners up at Penn State College of Medicine. All righty. Lastly, I want to end with a shot of our beautiful Yorktown. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. I love photographing our buildings at night, and there was a couple in this presentation. This one's one of my favorites. 3 generations of Heymans have photographed the Yorktown. My grandfather did back in the 60s. My father did in the 80s and 90s when they put off center down on the first floor. And I was lucky enough to be asked to have the honor to photograph it after the recent renovations. And this is a great example of the relationship between Heyman and York. When something is built here is so great that it requires a photograph or a story about it. We're here to help you do that. So in my closing statement, another fun fact, 12% of family businesses make it to the 3rd generation. A lot has been thrown at us over the years, but luckily we've made some good decisions. We've not stretched ourselves too thin, and we have always passionately focused on 2 things, attention to detail and the customer experience. And if you do that, everything else falls into place. I want to end by acknowledging Nancy Heyman, my grandmother and wife of our founder, Jim Heyman Jr. She managed the business and did the accounting for the first 20 years of our history and very rarely gets mentioned in these stories. So I wanted to go ahead and mention my grandmother. She is just one of many family members, clients, and friends and previous staff that have made all of this possible. If you've been photographed or working on a project with Heyman Studio in the past, go ahead and raise your hand. Thank you, everybody. That's really cool. Thank you so much. Then there is the current team, my team of amazing creatives. They made this video that I'm about to show that articulates much better what we do now than I could ever articulate now. Seen a lot in the 75 years since the studio was founded in 1950, when James Heyman Jr. began providing commercial photography to manufacturing and industrial companies in York, Pennsylvania. We're still based in York, and we love working and living here. But we also travel if you need us to. And to date, projects have taken us to 26 states and Canada. Over the decades, we've helped local manufacturers launch new products and effectively communicate their services. And we have smoothly and successfully rebranded long-standing institutions. We also love helping our community health partners. We create messages that people can understand and connect with. We build content so people can make informed decisions for themselves. In oversaturated professional service industries like insurance, accounting, law, and finance, we get that you have tons of competition. We work with you to create visual content that sets you apart from the crowd. We build websites that look beautiful and communicate effectively. And we construct them so you are able to easily maintain them and make updates once the project is complete. Our photography and video showcase your products, services, facilities, and people. And if it can't be filmed, we have the skills to provide custom illustration and animation. Our design work is clear and distinct. It elevates you above your competition and speaks directly to your customers. We give them exactly what they need, how and when they need it. Think of us as your marketing team. We're dedicated, we're responsive, we're experts, and we simplify your marketing so you can focus on what matters most. So that's us, a team of creatives that thrive on collaboration and help businesses like yours do it better. We are Heyman Creative Studio. Thank you. So that's what it looks like when you give my team a year to build a video, and I built this presentation. So that's the juxtaposition is freaking me out a little bit, but that's what happens when the team does it. Alrighty, that's all I have. So I can answer any questions anybody has or anything like that. Man, I must have been thorough.
Great presentation of a family business.
Thank
Can
you.
you comment on your sense of where AI is going to fit into your world? I knew you knew that question was coming.
I knew it was coming. AI is a topic of discussion at the studio often. Some of us are embracing it better than others. We've seen a lot of change over the years, and for a while there, my answer to AI was, we've made it through black and white to color. We've made it through stock. We've made it through digital. This is just another one of those, but it's not. I don't know what will come of AI. We're using AI for efficiency purposes in the studio. I used it on vacation a couple weeks ago to help me very specifically find some things between two destinations. It's really good at that. We have an AI policy on our website. If you don't, I recommend you draft one and have it on your website. And we don't let AI touch our creative at all.
Thank you for your presentation.
Thanks.
What are you excited for? What are you looking forward to in your company? And
Yeah, we rebranded last year, and not only did we change the visual appearance of the studio and the branding and marketing, but we changed how we're doing things a little bit internally. We started offering some ongoing content marketing that we never have before. We were always project-based. So this is the first time in our company history where we're offering ongoing marketing services. And it's really exciting. It's cool to get out there and have these conversations and find out what these companies need, and then be able to have the team of creatives at the studio that we can piece together the exact solution that they need. I think there might have been one over here.
That was excellent. And I have a technical question I'm still somewhat curious about. Going from lens and analog to digital, do you still have any old cameras with significantly good lenses that you use for any reason? I realize that with digital, you can do anything you want, but I'm still led to believe that the excellent lenses that are made by some of these companies produce a product that you can't still quite capture with digital. I just speak 30 seconds on that.
Sure. There was a part in my career where I swear, like every week, my friends would ask me, like, what camera should I buy? And it's like, I don't know, the most expensive one you can. But invest in the lens, I would always say, because you could have a mediocre sensor, and if you have a good piece of glass in front of it, that's where it's at. Those Zeiss lenses that we shot with in the 2000s were really great. We transitioned from Hasselblad to Canon after a couple things with Kodak and Nikon, so we're now mostly fully Canon studio. And we shoot with all L lenses, so like the best glass that Canon makes. So yeah, the glass is very important. We do have old cameras and lenses. We don't use any of those in production. I have a Canon A1 laying around, and I have my original Pentax that I used in high school with those lenses, but those are mostly on shelves for display nowadays. Yes.
I'm curious, setting aside the difference caused by technology, can you tell us about the differences of creative content? In other words, how has that changed over time?
Yeah, so everything's faster and everything needs to be more, right? We showed that York barbell shots earlier. I remember the days when we would spend a day on one shot or a day on two shots. If you told clients that nowadays, they would lose their mind. So it's this delicate balance of quality and quantity, right? And we have those conversations with our clients a lot. What else? What was the question again? I lost myself there. Sorry. They heard you online. What was it again? Yes, that was what it was. Sorry. Yes. Thank you. Yes. So again, it's a balance of quality and quantity. The way we approach projects now is we try and turn one deliverable into many. It's very easy to do on our video projects. If it's a testimonial project, you know, you're going to get your 3-minute, and then we'll make a 60 and a 90-second, and then we'll make a bunch of 15s because you don't want to post this one time on your social media channels. I'll often describe a puddle and making marketing content for your Facebook or LinkedIn. And if you make a piece of content, you drop that in the puddle, the ripples eventually stop. So what we try and do is make lots of content for each project so the client has a bunch of pebbles to drop in that puddle so that the messaging continues to resonate. So yes, a balance of quality and quantity.
So you are generation 3.
Yep.
Succession planning, generation 4.
Yep, I have Sadie and Owen. One's an artist, one's a sports guy, and they both want to work at Daddy's studio, and they both they have a loft and play area that they can come in and hang out, and they have free reign throughout the studio and wander around just like I did when I was a kid. They haven't found some of the areas that I know exist in that building yet, so maybe they need to get a little bit older. But my cousin and I, yeah, we used to wander around that building. We'll see. They're both still pretty young. They're going to school over at Indian Rock. We'll see how that all plays out. Excellent. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Ryan, thank you for sharing both the history and evolution of Heyman Creative Studio. It's really impressive to see a 75-year-old family business continue to adapt and lead through so much change. So we really appreciate you being with us here today. And as you all know, instead of giving the speakers a gift, we purchase a book and we ask them to sign the book plate and we donate it locally. This week's book will be donated to William Penn High School in York City, along with a bookmark made by the students at Creative York. Next week, we will hear from Rotarian Bernice Quisenberry, founder and CEO of Chasing the Rainbows. Through this organization, Bernice is transforming how grief, trauma, and mental health are addressed by providing support to families experiencing infertility, pregnancy, and infant loss. This program will highlight both the human and economic impact of unaddressed grief, as well as how compassionate, consistent care can strengthen families, workplaces, and communities. I look forward to seeing you all next week. This meeting is now adjourned.